think I'm falling in love with my brother-in-law. My husband Will and I have been married for just over a year, and have been together for 4 years total. When the virus lockdown began, Will's brother Liam asked if he could come stay with us as his roommate is an essential worker and he is high risk. Before this, Liam and I knew each other but definitely not well. We'd met probably under 10 times. But since he moved in, we've been spending a ton of time together, and alone. My husband is a lawyer, so he's holed up in his office most of the day. Liam and I are both technically still working, but work has kind of dried up for both of us, so most of our days are free time. Liam's been living with us for over 3 months now. The first week Liam moved in, I was struck by how similar we were, much more so than my husband and I are. We have a similar sense of humor, similar interests, and I'd say our overall energy is very similar. He also looks a lot like Will. Except, since we got married, Will has gained about 30 pounds. Liam, on the other hand, is very fit. You get where I'm going here. I don't know Liam well enough to know for sure if he's flirting with me, but it certainly feels like it. He laughs a lot at my jokes, teases me, and drops everything, for example hanging up on phone calls with friends, if I suggest we do something together, go to the store, or play a game, whatever. The way he looks at me also feels very affectionate and occasionally intense. We spend a lot of time tanning in the yard or in the pool, so we see each other half naked a lot. The intimate tension, at least on my end, is through the roof. My intimacy life with Will has also been flagging, which doesn't help. We've also gotten emotionally close. We have a lot of late nights, usually intoxicated/high talks alone because Will tends to go to bed early. We share a ton of inside jokes. We text, even though we're in the same house. When I see him/his name on my phone, I get that giddy feeling in my stomach. Like I do in the early courtship stages of a relationship. I guess I didn't recognize the extent of the problem until last week. On Wednesday night, I had a very vivid intimacy dream about Liam. I woke up incredibly horny and initiated intimacy with Will, but was thinking about Liam the whole time. I felt so guilty and disgusted after. Then, on Friday night, we were all intoxicated and had put on music and were just dancing stupidly. Liam and I kept dancing when Will went to bed, and it got a little heated. We were jokingly grinding and rubbing up on each other, except it didn't really feel like a joke. Since then, I keep having these thoughts of like, what life would be like if I'd met Liam instead of Will first, or what Liam would be like as a husband. I talked to Will today about possibly asking Liam to leave, under the guise of needing more privacy and more space for our relationship. Will was kind of taken aback, since we get along so well, and more or less shot down the idea since Liam has nowhere else to go. I feel like I'm dangerously close to having an affair, if what's happening now doesn't already count as cheating, and I don't know what I can do. I spent Monday out of the house and talked to Will on Monday night. I started off thinking I wouldn't mention Liam, so I was saying stuff about how I miss spending one-on-one, quality time together, and suggested doing a date night next week. He said yeah, he knows, but he's so busy these days, sorry. I told him about my therapy session, and how the therapist thought it'd be helpful if we did a session together, and that I'd like him to join next time. He was like, oh. Maybe. Why are you going to therapy? I told him that's what I wanted to talk to him about. I'm scared by how I've found myself feeling lately. I feel like I've started to doubt our marriage. I'm not being the wife I wanted myself to be, etc. He didn't say anything in response. Against my better judgment, I told him I thought I'd developed a bit of a crush on Liam. That's why I wanted him to leave. I told him about how we kept dancing after he went to bed, and how wrong it felt. I didn't mention anything about my feelings possibly being reciprocated. He said he knew, he saw it on the Nest Cam. I didn't even know there was a Nest Cam in the living room. Then he was like, honestly, I really don't care who you F. But effing my brother would be a little awkward for the next family get-together. I was speechless. I told him I had no intention of effing his brother, that it was a crush that got out of hand. He didn't believe me, claimed it was just a matter of time, that he'd been spending more time in the office to give us space, whatever that's supposed to mean. Then he accused me of having intimacy with a slew of other men, my friends and coworkers, his friends and coworkers, his best friend on our wedding day. There's literally video footage of my every move that day. He didn't believe me when I denied it, but also said it doesn't matter whether or not it's true. He kept saying he always knew it was just a matter of time. There's like an hour of this kind of back and forth. Then I asked him if he even wants to work on our marriage. He went, I'm actually pretty happy right now. I feel like I can't even begin to describe this interaction accurately. It was like talking to a wall or an alien. I told him he's acting really weird, and asked him again to join me at therapy. He insisted he has nothing to talk to a therapist about. I eventually told him that, if he doesn't think our marriage needs work right now, then it isn't a marriage I want to stay in. He goes, it's your world baby, I'm just living in it at this point. It's 4 a.m. so I'm like, maybe you're just so tired you're delirious, let's go to bed and pick this back up tomorrow. So this morning, Tuesday, I try to initiate conversation again. He says he has no time, he's running late to a meeting. He goes to his office and stays in there with the door locked all day. He came out once in like a 14-hour span to grab food and go to the bathroom. Liam also stays in his room all day, so I'm wondering if Will said something to him. I saw him briefly around dinner time and apologized for how I acted on Friday night. In the grand scheme of things, the conversation was very normal and uneventful. I said something along the lines of I think I let the alcohol get to my head and I acted inappropriately, it won't happen again, sorry. He was like, oh yeah, I guess that was a bit much, and retreated back to his room. I wait in mine and Will's bedroom. He comes in at 2 a.m. and when I try to talk he goes, babe, do we really have to talk about this right now? As if I'm just trying to discuss what color to paint our walls or something. I start to cry and for some reason he takes this as a cue to try to initiate intimacy. I say no, and he starts getting a little pushy and talking about impregnating me. So I got out of bed and now I've just been on this couch for the past 3 hours trying to figure out what the F is going on with my marriage. I'm just more confused than anything.